Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can get started with the Divi theme. This video is just for people that are getting started with Divi. If you're already an advanced Divi user, I guess you can skip this video or you can still watch it. Maybe you can learn one or two things. But if you're just getting started, then this video is for you because I'm going to show you how you can get started, how you can speed up your web design process, and how you can save a lot of time by doing things the right way. So let's go ahead and get started. Obviously, the first thing you need to do is to get the Divi theme. So I'm assuming that you already have it. If you don't have it yet and you are planning on buying it, you can go ahead and go to WPLifestyle/Divi and then click enter. I will also leave the link in the description box below so you can go ahead and check it out. So once you're on this page here, you can see that they have two pricing options here. So they have the yearly access and the lifetime access. So you can go ahead and grab whichever one that works best for you. If you want to be paying every year, you can go ahead and go for this one. But if you want to pay once and then forget about it, then you can go for this one. In my opinion, I think the lifetime access is the best plan for you if you are planning on using Divi for more than 3 years, because if you are doing the yearly one after 3 years, you'll be paying more than $249 already. So you might as well go with the $249, which is the lifetime access, and then you get a lifetime update. I already have one, so I'm going to go ahead and log into my account. Okay, so once you log into your account, you can go ahead and click on the download button here, and then once you do that, you head over to your WordPress dashboard. Once you're here, you can go to appearance and click on themes. From here, you can see that I already have the Divi theme installed, but in your case, maybe you don't have it yet. You can go ahead and click on add new, click on upload theme, and then from here you can grab the Divi file that you just downloaded and then upload it right here and click on install. Once you install that, the next thing you need to do is to go to the Divi tab over here and then click on theme options, and then once you're on this page, go ahead and click on update. So this is where you're going to put in your username and your API key. So this is very important to do before you start using your Divi theme, because then you'll be able to get updates and you'll be able to get access to the support center and also the pre-made templates. So once you do this, you can go ahead and click on save changes. I'll show you where to find this in your account. So once you're inside your account right here, you can go ahead and click on my account tab here, and then from this page you can go ahead and click on API keys. Once you click on this button, you will see your username and your API key. Obviously, I'm not going to click on mine because I don't want to show my API key. So once you do that, you can grab it and come over here and paste in your username here and also paste your API key here and click on save changes. The next thing you need to do is to set your default color palette. So to do that, you need to head over to the general tab. Over here you can see that we have a default color palette. You can go ahead and add your brand colors here so you can have a quick access to it once you are inside the builder. Just keep in mind that this is not a global color, right? So for example, if we change the colors that we have here, it's not going to automatically change on your website. This is just for you to have a quick access inside the builder, right? So for example, if we go back here, we have this page right here. You can see that we have this color right here, right? If I come back here and change this color, maybe I change this color to red like this, and then click on save changes. If I go back here and refresh this page, you can see the color that we have here. If I refresh the page, you can see that the color is not going to change. So this is not a global color. But what happens now is if I go inside the builder, so from here, if we go here and click on this text here to change the color, right here you can see that we have that red color here. So basically the colors you are seeing here is what you are going to see inside the builder. Let's go ahead and change this green one here to something else. Maybe we can change it to black. For now you can see that that's black. We save it and then we'll come back here and refresh this page. Okay, so now we refresh the page. If we scroll down here and click on the text icon again, we go to design and then we scroll down here. Now you can see that the color has changed to black. So these are not global colors. These are just for you to have a quick access to your brand color inside the builder. If you want to use it, you can go ahead and use it. What I usually use is the global color. If you look over here, you can see that we have a global tab. If you click on it, you can see that I already have some global colors here, but in your case, you will not have any global colors here. All you need to do is to click on the plus icon here to add a color. You can go ahead and select any color from here, or you can just go ahead and paste the hex code in here. You can also use tools like Adobe Color to find the perfect color palette for your website. For example, you can go to this website. I will leave the link in the description box below. So it's basically color.adobe.com. You can spin the wheel to find the right color combination for your website, or you can click on this trends button here and then you will see all the trending colors for different categories. You can see this is for fashion, this is for graphic design, this is for illustration, this is for UI UX. So you can go ahead and select any of these colors. So let's say for example, I like this particular color combination here. I can go ahead and click on it. Now you can see we have the hex code for those colors. I can go ahead and click on copy and then I can go back here and paste this inside here. I'll paste this here like this, and then click on save changes. So that's the new color that we just added. And then I'll go back here and copy this one and then add that in here as well. So you can keep doing the same thing and add all your colors in here. And then if you want to delete any color, let's say for example we added this one here, we don't want this here because we already have a black color here, you can go ahead and click on it. Once you click on it, you're going to see it here. Then you can click on the button to edit it, and then from here you can change the color to a different color, and then click here to save it, and then click yes. So this is our global colors. This is just an example. So that's how you can add a global color. And the reason why you want to use a global color is that whenever you add this color here, anytime you come in here and change the color, it will change it anywhere you have it on your website. So you don't have to go and start changing colors on every single page. So this is going to save you a lot of time. So make sure you are using global colors when you are working with Divi. So with that out of the way, the next thing we need to do is to go ahead and set up the global fonts so that we can have a global font, so we don't have to change the font over and over again. All you have to do is to go to appearance and click on this customize tab here, or you can also go to Divi here and then click on Divi customizer. So this will take you to this page, and then from here you can go ahead and click on the general settings here, and then from here you can see the typography. Go ahead and click on that. So from this page you can see all our default typography settings. You can see that our body text, the size is 14. We can increase that if we want. You can see here we are using the body text. If we increase that, you can see that the button will start to increase. You can see that. And then if you made any changes that you don't like, you can go ahead and click on this reset button here to reset. And then the same thing goes to headers. You can see the headers. Once we click on that, all the header on the website will change. You can see the size of the headers, and then you can also go ahead and reset that. So this is basically where you can play around with that. And then if you want to make all the header bold, you can go ahead and select this, or if you want to make it all capital letter, you can go ahead and select this as well. But keep in mind, you can also override this inside the builder. This is just the general setting. If you want to make your life easier, you can just use this setting, and then whenever you come back here and make any changes, it will apply on the entire website instead of doing it individually. And here you can see that we have the default fonts. You can go ahead and select your own font from here if you want. You can look for a font that you want, and then you can go ahead and select that font. And you can also see that we have a different font for the header, and we also have a different font for the body. So once you've decided which font you want to go with, you can go ahead and select that. Let's say for example I want to go with Poppins, and that's going to be for my header font. I'm going to use Poppins, and then for my body font I'm just going to leave it on default, and then go ahead and click on publish. So once you click on publish, you can go ahead and click on this button here to close this. So once you're done with your global color and your global fonts, the next thing we need to do is to go ahead and set up your builder. So once you click on enable the visual builder, I'm going to do that on a new page so that you guys can follow along. Let me go ahead and create a new page. So from here I'm going to give this page a name. Maybe I'll call this the sample page. So we have the sample page. Go ahead and publish that, and then from here we can go ahead and use the Divi builder to grade this page. So once you're on this page, you can see now that we have the option to insert a row. So this is very important because this is where you need to know exactly what you're trying to grade, so that will actually help you to pick the row with the right columns. Right here you can see that we have a row with 1 column, and here we have 2 columns, 3 columns, 4, and we have 5, we have 6. So we have so many different combinations that you can choose. So based on the design that you want to grade, this is where you are going to go ahead and pick that. So I recommend before you start designing any website with Divi, you should have like a sketch of what you're trying to achieve, or an example, or maybe an illustration, or maybe a design that you did in Adobe SD or Photoshop, or anywhere that you completed the design and now you want to grade that into a website. Then you have an idea of what you're trying to grade, so that will make your design process a lot more easier and faster, instead of trying to grade different things and then you delete it and then do it over and over again. But for this tutorial we're just going to use a Divi layout as an example. So here we have this layout here. So let's assume that we want to grade something like this. You can already see that this is a 2-column section, right? So we have 1 column here, and then over here we have another column, and then this is the section. So what we need to do now is here we can select this 2-column section here. So now we have the 2-column section, and then inside the first column we want to add a module, and then module can be any of these things that we have in here. It can be any of these modules that we have in here. If we go back here, you can see that we have a title here, we have a text, and then we have a button. So that's what we're going to add in here. So we're going to add a text. So you can go ahead and type text in here, and then we can select this text here. So now that we have the text module here, you can go ahead and put your title, and then you can also put your text in here inside the same module. You can use 2 different modules, but you can do the same thing inside the same module. For example, what you can do is you can go here and then we can click enter, and then maybe we can highlight this one, and then we can change the tag from here. Right now you can see that it says paragraph. We can change that to heading. Maybe we can change that to heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. So let's change that to heading 1. So now you can see that we have that heading here, or maybe we can actually go ahead and copy this one here and use it as our heading. We paste that in here. Alright, so we have the heading here and then we have the paragraph here. Let's copy this text here and then we can use it here as well. Let's paste that in here. Alright, so now we have the title and we have the text. You can go ahead and click on this check mark to close it. And now the next thing we need to add is to add a button. You can see here this black section here is to add a module. If you put your mouse over here, you can see it will say add a module. We can go ahead and add a button. We can search for a button here. So now you can see that we have this button here. We can go ahead and select it. So this is our button and this is the text on the button. If we go back here, you can see this button says view courses. We can go ahead and copy that and we can paste that in here. Okay, now we have a title, we have a paragraph, and we also have the button here as well. And then here we have an image here. So what we need to do, we go inside this column and we click on this black icon here, and then we can add an image. So let's search for an image again. So go ahead and select the image icon here. So now this is the image that we have here. We can click on this image icon here. And then for you, maybe you don't have any image here, you can go ahead and click on upload file and then go ahead and drag and drop your images here, or you can click on select file to select all your images. Once you do that, you can go ahead and select the image. So let me go ahead and select a random image here, or maybe we can actually use this one here. I can go ahead and download it. I'll click here and use my image downloader. And then this is the image. I can go ahead and click on download. Now you can see that the image has downloaded here, and now all I need to do is to just drag it and then drop it right here, and then I'll go ahead and make sure it's selected like this and then click on upload image. So now you can see that we have almost the exact design that we have here, and this is why I say you should have an idea what you're trying to grade, so it will make it easier for you to grade it. So what we need to do now is to go ahead and add a background color. So to add the background color, you can see that the background color is covering the entire section, and here you can see that we have a section. So the blue one is a section. If you put your mouse over it, you can see it will say the section settings, and then the green one is a row. You can see here, you can see row setting, and then the black one is a module. So basically all these are going to have similar settings. If you click on the section or the row or the module, they're all going to have similar settings. I'll show you in a sec. So here what we need to do is to click on the section settings, and then here you can see that we have a link. If you want this section to be a link, maybe if someone click on this section, it will take them to another page or something like that. You can add that link here, and then you can decide whether you want the link to open in a new tab or not. If you want it to open on the same window, you can select this one. If not, you select this one. And then the next one is to click on background, and then here we can give this a background color. Right now you can see our colors here, but we want to use the global color. We go ahead and click on the global color here, and then here we can give this a color. Maybe we can give this this color that we have here. So now you can see the color that we have. And then if you want to use a gradient color, this is where you can do it. You can select this option. This is gradient color, and then you can add your colors here. You can see that we have two colors here, and then you can also change the direction of the gradient. You can change the starting position. You can also change the end position. You can play around with this. This one is very easy to do. So this one is something that you can use, or maybe you want to do something like this, you can go ahead and do it. And then you can also change the color. Select your global color, choose the color that you want for this one, and then click this check mark here, and then select the second color, and then choose the color that you want for the second one. Maybe you want this color, you can go ahead and do that. Maybe you want this color. So that's up to you. We are not going to be using a gradient color. We are going to use a solid color. So what you can do, you can go ahead and delete this. Then we can have our solid color here. Or maybe if you want to have a background image instead, you can see here that they actually have a background image. I don't know if you can see it, but it's hidden a little bit, and then it has an overlay of this color here. Let's go ahead and download that background. Maybe we can use it. So this is the background they are using. I don't know if you can see it here. Let me go ahead and download that, and then I can grab that background image and drop it here. And this is the image. Make sure it's selected and click on upload image. So now you can see what the background image looks like. From here we can make sure that this background is on cover. If you make it fit, it will look like this. So make sure it's on cover like this, and then the background image repeat, make sure it's on no repeat. And then the background image blend, this is where we want to change this to overlay, so that way we can still see the background image and the color at the center. And you can see that we have this image here in the background, which is exactly what we we have here. You can see that line there. And keep in mind, you can always come here and change the opacity of the overlay as well, right? You can change the opacity like this, but keep in mind, if you want to do something like this, if you want to change the color, make sure you are not using the global color, because any changes that you made here is going to apply on your entire website anywhere you are using this color. For example, if I click here, it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to make this change to the global color? This will affect all instances of global color across your entire site. Do you wish to proceed? If you say yes, it's going to change that color to this particular color that we have here anywhere you have that previous color on your website. So make sure you are not using the global color to do this. So go ahead and cancel it, and then what you can do is to select any of your default color that you have here that is not the global color. Let's say if I select this black color here, then I can go ahead and mess around with the black color, and this is not going to affect the other colors that you have on your website. This is only going to affect this color here. So that's why it's also good to have your colors here as well, so you can also have a quick access to them. Then you can go ahead and play around with this color. So that's what you can do, but for now I'm going to go ahead and use the global color like this. I won't make any changes to it. I'll leave it like that. So you can see what we have here is very similar to what we have here. You can obviously see that we need to change the color of this text to a different color. So maybe we can change it to white. We click on the setting icon and open it. If you want to go to the settings, you can click on this pencil icon here, which is going to make your life a lot easier, and this will take you to the right place that you need to make the changes. We can change the font from here. We can make it bold if we want. We can make it all capital letter if we want, like this. We can make it uppercase, and then we can change the alignment to the left, to the middle, to the right. But for now, I'm going to leave that on default. And then the color, we can change the text color from here, and then we can add the text size. We can increase the size like this. Maybe we can leave this on 35 for now, so 35. And you can see that the text is really close to each other. If you go here, you can see that they have more space here, so maybe we want to add that space. Over here you can see that we have the heading line. Go ahead and adjust that like this, and then we can do the same thing for the paragraph. Click on the pencil icon, and that will take you to the right place where you need to do the settings. We can change the text color to white, and then we can also change the text size from here. But keep in mind, if you make any changes in here, if you go back inside your customizer and change anything there, it's not going to affect this text because you already override them inside the Divi builder. So make sure you decide what you want to use. If you want to use your global font or global settings, so let's say your body text is going to be 14, make sure you leave everything on 14. So let's say later if you want all of them to be 16, all you really need to do is to go back inside your customizer and change it to 16, and then all of them will automatically change to 16, so you don't have to go and do it individually. Anytime that you go inside the customizer and change it, it's not going to affect these ones that you have here. So if you want to have a special customization for a specific sections, you can also do that as well. So that's how we can customize this. And then we have the button, for example. So the button, we can go ahead and customize that button. We can also go ahead and click on the link. This is where you can add the button link, and this is where you can decide how you want the button to open. So maybe we want this button to go to this page. So we have this course page here. You can go here and copy the URL of that page, and then come back here and paste the URL here, and then we can click on the design tab to make customization to the button. You can see that the button is not looking good. If you go back here, you can see that we have this nice button here. So what we can do, we click on this button icon here, and then here we want to use a custom style button, and here we can change the size of the text of the button. We can change that like this, you can see, and then you can also go back to default setting by clicking on this reset button here if you make any mistake. And now the button text, we want that to be white, and then maybe when you hover over the button, we want the text to be a different color. If you put your mouse over here, you can see this arrow here, that's a hover icon. If you click on it, you can see this is hover. If you click over here, you can see this is hover setting. Click on that, and now we want to change that hover color to maybe one of our global color. Maybe we want to change it to this color. So when you hover over it, it will look like this, but don't worry, that will look a lot better. Now let's go to background color here. We don't have any background color here, so maybe we want this to look like this, or maybe we want the background color to be the same color as the global color like this. So that's the background color right there, like this. We'll have this, and then when you hover over it, the background will be white. We change that to white like this, and now you can see, let's go back to default. So the button will look like this, and then when you hover over it, it will look like this. So that's really nice. And then we have the border line here. You can see the border that we have here. So the border we have here is 2. Maybe we can increase that like like this if you want. So that's up to you, but I'll leave that on 2 for now, or you can even make it 1 and it will look like this. I'll leave that on 2 for now. I think 2 looks really good. And then the border color, if you want to change it to a different color, for example, you can change that like this. So that's up to you. You can play around with it, but I'll leave that on white for now. So I prefer the white color. And then if you don't want to have any border at all you can do is you can just put this to 0. But in this case, I want to have border only on the default one. So I'll have the 2 here. And then we go here to the hover tab and then click on the hover icon here. And then once you hover over it, I don't want to have any border, so I'll change this to 0. So once you hover here, we won't have any border. But if you go back to default, you can see that we have a border here. Once we hover, we don't have any border. So that's how you can do a customization. If you know exactly what you are trying to create, it will make it easy for you to create. It's looking exactly like what we have here, but just different color. So now that we have the basics out of the way, now you're beginning to understand how the builder works. So let me go ahead and show you one more setting that you can do. If you click on this layer icon right here, you can see this is going to show you everything that we have on the page. You can see right now that we have this section here. You can see the section, and then inside that section we have a row, and then inside the row we have 2 columns, which is this column here and this column here. And then inside the first column we have this text, and then we have a button, and then inside the second column we have this image. So this is basically a layout of what we have on this page. So let me go ahead and close this. But what I like to do is to rename this thing so that when you want to go to a specific section, it will be easy for you to navigate to that section. So you don't have to rename every single row or columns. The only thing I do is section, but you can also do rows if you want. But I just want to rename the sections. Maybe I will call this one hero section, for example. All you need to do is to click on this setting icon here, and then you can go here and change the admin label. You can see the admin label says section. You can also get into here by just clicking on this section here. So this section icon here, you can click on it, and then you can go to the admin label here, and maybe we can call this one hero section. Alright, so now you can see that we have the name the hero section. If we close that and go back here and click on the layers, you can see that we have the hero section here. So usually the section will be like your building block. So let's say you have the hero section, and then you have the pricing section, you have the services section. So I like to organize my sections like this, so it's very easy for me to navigate whenever I want to make changes, or maybe I want to go to a specific section. So it will be very easy for you to do. So with that out of the way, the next thing you need to do is to go to the builder setting here. So once you click on these 3 dots here, now you can see your builder setting. You can do all the settings from here. Maybe you want your default view mode to be like the tablet or maybe the phone. I don't know why you want to do that, but this is it. This is what it's going to look like. You can see that the website is responsive, but I like to use the desktop view, so I'll leave that on desktop view. And then over here you want to choose your builder interaction. Right now we have it on hover mode. That means if you want to do any changes, you are going to hover here and then click. If you change this on click mode, that means when you go here you have to click on it to be able to get the setting icon. And then if you go back here and change it on grid mode, that means it's going to look like this. You're going to be seeing all these settings right here. You can see all the setting icons. You can go ahead and click on any of them at any time. You don't need to hover, you don't need to click on it, but then it will be getting in the way. For example, you can't see this heading here, but let's say you're trying to get into a module that is hiding behind another section. You can always go ahead and activate this mode to be able to click on it, or you can go to the wireframe mode here. This wireframe mode will show everything you have on the page, and then you can click on that setting to open it like this, and then you can click on the wireframe mode to close it, and then you can go ahead and make the changes that you want to make. And then another thing you can do is to activate these buttons here. Just by clicking on them, you can see the quick menu that we have here. If you want to have that, you can go ahead and enable them from here. So this 3 right here is basically these options that we have here, these 3 options here. So if you have it here, it will be easy for you to navigate. And then here we have the history state interval. So this is going to be the option that you have. You can select every action or every 10th action. So that means anything that you're doing here, every action is going to save. If you go to the history tab, which is this one right here, if you click on it, you can see all the changes that we've made. That means if you make any mistake, let's say we want to go back to this section. So if you click on this section, now you can see what we have. If you make any mistake, you can go back to any action at any time. If I go back to this action, so that's what we have here. But if you have like every 10th action, every changes that you made here is not going to save. So it's going to save every 10th action or 20th action. But for me, I like to leave this on every action so that I can go back at any time. So once you finish, you can go ahead and click on save changes. So before we continue, I would like to show you some other global settings that you can do. So let me show you an example here. So let's say if we go back to this example website that we are using, if you scroll down here, you can see that they have this section right here. So this section right here is going to appear at the bottom of the website on every single page. So we are currently on the landing page, if we go to the home page, for example, and scroll down here, you can see that we have the same section here. And then if we go to the courses page and scroll down here, you can see that we have the same section here. So if you have a section like this that you want to add on your website, maybe a call to action or something like that, or maybe you want to add it on your client website, what you can do is to create a global element, so you don't have to go to every single page to update this section every single time. So let's say you want to make changes to that particular section, and once you make any changes to it, it's going to apply on your entire website. So let me show you how to do that. Maybe we can use this page as an example. Let's go ahead and edit this page. So maybe for example, we want to use this section right here as a global design. Let me go ahead and change the background color so we can see what we're working with. So let me change that to maybe this color right here. So you can see that we have this right here. So what you need to do is to right click here. So once you right click here, you can see all the options that we have here. You can undo, you can redo, you can save to library, you can split text, you can disable, you can lock, you can copy the row, you can copy the style, you can reset the style, you can modify it. But what we want to do is to save this to the Divi library. So from here we can give this a name. Maybe we can call this global. So we call this global sample, and then here we want to make this global item. So let's make this a global item. So let's go ahead and save it. You can also create a category for it if you want, but I'm not going to do that. So once I save this to the library, so this is now a global item. So you can see now that this whole section and everything inside will now change to green. But if you go to this one, you can see that this one have this green color here, and then this one have the black color here, and then this one have a black color. But if you go on this one, everything here will now change to light green, and that's because everything inside this section are now global items. So what you can do now is, if we duplicate this, make a duplicate, make a duplicate. Now look what happens. Let's say we have all these different duplicates that we have here on different pages. If I go in here and make any changes, it's going to affect all of them. So let me go here and change the background color to red. Once I go ahead and click on that and save changes, you can see all of them now change to red. Or maybe if I go in here and change it to a different color, I don't know, just change it back to the original color and then click on save. So now you can see that all of them has changed back to the original color. So this is how you can use the global item. This is going to save you a lot of time. If you have a section or a button that you need to have on every single page, maybe you can make that button a global item. So that way, if you want to make any changes to that button, you don't need to go and do that on every single page. You can just go and make changes to one of the buttons, and then it will apply to all of them. So that's how you can use this. Let me go ahead and delete all this that we don't need. So this is how you delete something. Anytime you want to delete a section or anything, you can see once you hover over it, you can see the delete button. Go ahead and delete it. And then if you want to save to the library, you can also click on this icon here to save. And then this is the setting icon, and then this one is to just drag it around. So now that you have a global item, let's say you want to use it on another page. How do you now copy it to another page? You can go ahead and copy the row like this, and then go to that page that you want to use it, and then go ahead and put your mouse over here and paste the row. Now you have a copy. You can do it like that, or you can also go in here and click on the icon, and then you can click on add from library. And now you can see that we have the global sample here. Go ahead and select that, and that is going to add that global sample for you. So that's two ways you can add it to any page on your website. So the next thing we need to do now is to go ahead and create some presets. I like using presets because they will make your life a whole lot easier. So let me show you how you can do that. So to use a preset, let's say we want to create a preset for this button right now. Let's say for example, if we go in here and add a new button, you can see this button is going to look like a normal button, right? So now we have to go and start designing the button over and over and over again. If you have any call to action, you have like different buttons, so that's going to take so much of your time when you can actually use a preset to make your life so much easier. So what you can do is to click on the setting icon for the button we created already. Now go here and click on preset. You can see the preset that we have here is the default preset. Now we can go ahead and create a new preset from the current styles. So go ahead and click on this, and now let's give this preset a name. So we call this one white button, and then if you want to assign this preset to default button, you can go ahead and enable that from here, and then go ahead and click on this check mark and then click on yes. And now you can see that this button will automatically change and look like this button, right? So that's our default preset. So go ahead and close that. So what happens now is every time that we add a new button, if we go here and add a new button, it will automatically have this design instead of having that boring design that we had before. So that's one thing you can do. Or maybe you don't want to make this design your default. We can go back now and change back to the default button. So let's go back to button preset 1. We make this the default button, say yes, and this is going to change all these buttons back to default. So what you can do now is, if we select a button, we select this button for example, and then we can apply a preset to that button. So we can apply the white preset button here, so that will apply to this button alone, and then all these other buttons will still have the default preset. Or maybe we have black buttons as well. So let me make a copy of this button for example. I'll make a copy of this one, and then here I can go here and change the background of the button to a different color. Maybe I'll change that to this color. So we have the red button like this. What we can do is we can also create a preset from this button. Let's create a preset from this button. We can call this one red button. So now we have a red button, right? We close that. So what happened now is every time we add a button, is going to have our default design, and then we can go ahead and click on the setting icon and then add any preset that we want. You can create as many presets as you want, and then I can go ahead and add any preset that I want on this button. So maybe I want to add the white one, and now you can see that the white preset will apply to this button. And then maybe this one I want to add the red preset. I will click here and go ahead and select the red preset. Now you can see it right here. So that's what you can do. This is going to save you a lot of time instead of trying to recreate the buttons over and over again. So whenever you make a duplicate of a button, you can see that we made a duplicate of this button, and then we got this one. So make sure you come in here and change the button link so that you can add the right link here, so that the button will go to the right place. You don't want the whole button going to the same place, but if you add a new button, the link is still going to be empty. It's just going to apply only the design to that button. You can still come in here and add your link. So that's how you can create a preset. And keep in mind, you can create presets for pretty much anything. So let's say we want our next section to look like this. Instead of redesigning the section over and over again, we can even come in here and click on the section icon, and then here we can create a preset from this section design. We can call this one hero design like this, and then save that. Now let's come in here and click on the blue icon and add a new section. We add a new section here. So we have that new section, we add one row, and now if we go here and select the preset, we can add the hero design, and now you can see that we have that design. So you can do this with pretty much anything. You can do this with section, you can do this with row, you can do this with modules. Let's say you have this text here, you want to create your title, and then you've created the title and you want that design to apply to every title that you create. You want to make that your default title. You can always come in here and create that preset, and then you can apply it as the default preset, so that every time you add a heading 1 title, it will automatically have that preset. So that is going to save you a lot of time. And then one more thing that I want to mention is, if you want to add a custom font, I don't know if you'll be doing that, but if you want to add a custom font, this is where you can do that as well. If you come in here and click on any text settings and go inside the design icon here, let's click on the pencil icon here to go there, and then here we have the heading font. You can see here that we have all the fonts that we can select. You can select any of these fonts and use them, but if you have your own fonts that you want to use, you can go ahead and click on upload here to upload that font, and then you can go ahead and select the font and then upload it, and then you'll be able to select the font inside the builder and use it as your font if that's what you want to do. So that's how you can do that. So let's talk more about section and rows and columns. So if we click on this section icon here, so everything I'm going to talk about here is pretty much going to be the same for like every single like section, row, modules, columns. For example, you can see here that we have all these settings here. If we go to design tab, we have the layout, we have the dividers. We don't have that much going on here, but then the dividers, maybe if you want to add a divider on the top, you can go ahead and select any of these dividers here like this, and then you can change the color. And then if you don't want to have any dividers there, you can go ahead and click on none. So the same thing applies to the bottom. This is where you can also add a divider to the bottom like this. You can see what we have. You can also add any of these dividers that we have here. Maybe you can add this one like this, and it will look like this. So you've seen this kind of design before. This is how you can do it. You can increase the height, you can mess around with the horizontal here like this. You can mess around with that, and then you can flip it like this if you want, and you can put it underneath the content or on top of the section content. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and remove that. I'll go here and choose none. All right, so that's what you can do inside here. And then the sizing, this is where you can actually adjust the size. You can see the size of the section right now is set to auto. You can actually manipulate that like this. You can also click on the reset button here, and then the height, this is where you can also manipulate the height as well. And then we have the spacing. This is where you can adjust the padding padding and margin. So padding and margin can be a little bit confusing for people that are getting started with Elementor or Divi or any other page builder. So let's say you are trying to customize the section, the padding goes inside the section while margin goes outside the section, and then the same thing applies to rows. So let's say you are working on a row, for example, the padding will go inside the row and the margin will go outside, and the same thing applies to columns, the same thing applies to modules. So let me show you an example here. So right now you can see that we have no space here between this section and the header. If I go in here and add a top margin, if I add a top margin like this, now you can see that we have this space here between the header and the section, and then the same thing goes here at the bottom. We don't have any space between the section and the footer. And now if I click on this icon here to add 78 here as well, you can also add a different number here if you want. Now you can see that we have space here, but if you link it, that means any number that you have here is what is going to be here. You can change both of them at the same time. So that means we're adding 90 at the top and we're adding 90 at the bottom, so you can see what we have there. But in this case, maybe I want to have, for example, I don't want any space between the header and the section. I'll add 0 here, and then here maybe I want to add 100. I want a space maybe 100 pixels in between the footer and the section, and then I'll have that 100 here. And then the same thing applies on the left and the right. So right now we don't have anything here, but let's say we want a space here. We can add a space here like this. Outside, you can see we are adding that space outside. We can also do the same thing on the right side by linking it, right? You can see that space here, you can see that space here. So that's basically what margin is. But for now, I don't want any margin on the left and on the right, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this. So we'll have 0 here and it will look like this. And now let's talk about padding. So padding goes inside, like I said. So here, for example, if we have if we add 100 pixels here, so look at the amount of space that we have here. We add 100 pixels. So now you can see the amount of space that we have here, or maybe we have 600 pixels, just as an example. Obviously you don't want to add this much space there, but this is just to show you that the padding goes inside instead of the outside. So let's go ahead and delete this because we don't really need that space there. And then let's do the same thing at the bottom. Maybe here you can see that there's not that much space here. Maybe we can add 200 pixels there, and now you can see the amount of space that we have here. And then this padding and margin thing is exactly the same thing for every single thing that we have in here. So we did that for the section, is exactly the same thing for the row. So if we click on the row setting and go inside here, maybe we can give this row a background so we can see what we are working with. We'll give it a background color. So now you can see that we have a background color for this particular row in here. And now you can see here inside this row, this is not looking good because obviously if we are not using this background color, this is fine because nobody is going to notice that there is no space here. But because of this background color that we have here, maybe we want to add some space on the left here and also on the right. So what you need to do in this case is just go to the design tab and then go to spacing. And then because we want to add this inside, we are going to add some padding. We add some left padding here. Maybe we add 50 here, and then maybe on the right side, maybe we can add 50 here as well. And then we'll have that space here, or maybe we just want to add a little bit of space. We can add 25, and that will be 25 here, and we want that 25 to show here as well. We can just link this, and that will also add 25 here as well. And maybe on the top we want to add 50 pixels here. We add 50 and then we link it, and then we also add 50 at the bottom as well. And then for the outside, maybe we want more space up here. We can go ahead and add margin. We can add like maybe 300 pixels, and now you can see the amount of space that we have here. So I'm pretty sure by now you get the idea. So this applies to pretty much every single thing. I'm going to go ahead and reset this, and then I'll go back here and remove this color. We don't want any color here. This was just an example. So I'm pretty sure by now you get the idea like how everything works. You get the idea how this whole thing works. The same thing applies to if you go to the modules, any modules in here. Pretty much the same thing applies if you go to the design tab and then you go to the spacing, and then you can add padding and margin as well. You can add padding there. You can add maybe 500, and you can see that padding right there, right? You can see top padding. You can add that in there. So the whole setting for Divi, for section, for row, for columns, for module is pretty much almost the same. So let's say we add a pricing table, for example. Now we have a pricing table. We also have the same settings for the pricing table. We can go ahead and add a background color if we want. We can go ahead and give it red background color. Now you can see the pricing table, we have that color. So I'm pretty sure you get the idea by now. You understand how everything works. This much space that we have here, right? right? So one more thing that you can do is inside here, if you go to this row setting and go to design and then go to the sizing, so the width is the size of this content area. You can see the content area from here to here is currently at 1080 pixels, or maybe you want to change this to something like, I don't know, maybe for people that are using bigger screen, maybe you want to change this to 120/80. You can go here and change this to 120/80 like this, and then you can see that we have a bigger content area. Don't be afraid to change it. If you want to change this to something else, feel free to change it. Most of the time I just use the default, which is 1080. I will just leave that on 1080 for now, but if you want to change it to something else, this is where you can do that as well. And then we have borders, right? So borders are pretty much the same thing, so you can follow the same process for every single thing. So I'm actually going to give this row a background color, so we can just use it as an example for how everything works. So let me give it a red color like this, and then I'll go back here and give it some padding again. So I'll link this and give it 50 on the top and the bottom, and then I will also give like 25 here as well on the left, and also 25 on the right. So we can use this as an example to see how everything works. So the next thing here is borders, right? So if we click on borders, you can see here that we have the rounded corners. We have 0 pixels here. We can actually go ahead and add those rounded corners. You can see now we have rounded corners here. Obviously you don't want to add too much. For example, maybe you want to add something like, I don't know, maybe 25, and that will look like this. Or maybe if you want to add maybe 25 here, and then you don't want to add any border at the bottom like this, you can unlink this. So when it's linked, it will apply on all sides. But when it's not linked, you can just add any way that you want. Maybe we add 0 here, and then we also add 0 here. So this will look like this, and the top will be curved like this. I don't know, you can play around with it. And then we have the border style, and then the border style is like all round. We can add border all round like this, or we can just add to the top or to the side or to the bottom or to the left. So let's try all sides. So if we add maybe like this, you can see the border width, and then we can change the color of that border width. We can change it to anything that we want. So let's go ahead and reset this. Maybe we just want to add a border on the top, only on the top. We can select this top one, and then we can add that border to the top like this, and then we can change the color to any color that we want. So the same thing applies to this, and this as well. So you can go ahead and reset that. I will also reset this one as well. And then the next one here is box shadow, right? We have like different type of shadows that we can add. You can see this one as well. You can also manipulate the shadows yourself just by messing around with the pixels here. You can change this pixel, you can change that as well. You can change this one, but for now that's just an example. We skip that for now. So filters, we can use this to actually, I don't know, mess around and get like different colors. We can apply filters to pretty much anything. So this is like having Photoshop inside your builder. So Divi is awesome, you can see that already. And if you want to reverse any changes, you can go ahead and click on the reset icon here. So that's what you can do. And then we have transform. So this is where you can add all kind of crazy stuff. This is probably like a whole another tutorial, but I'm just going to quickly touch on it, what you can do here. So let's say for example we can zoom this in like this, you can see, or I don't know, you can zoom it out like this. Maybe you can have something like this. For example, let's say you make this 50%. And then when you click on the hover icon here, and then when someone hovers on it, you can make it 100%. I don't know, you can make it 100% like this. Now look what happens if I save it, and let's go and open this page on a new tab, I guess. So once we open this page on a new tab, you can see what happens here. If I hover my mouse over here, you can see. So that's what you can do. You can do like really cool stuff inside here, and that also apply. This is scale, right? You can do the same thing with translate. You can do that with rotate. You can do that with skew. You can do like different stuff using all these options that you have here. You can always come in here and mess around, or if you want me to make a dedicated tutorial of what you can achieve, what is possible, what you can do inside here, let me know in the comment section below and I will make that video. But for this video is not that technical. This video is just for people that are just starting out. This is just for beginners, so we're going to skip that for now. So we're going to reset everything back to normal. And then the next one here is animation, and we can change that to, so the animation is just how this is going to animate. Maybe we want this to fade out like this, or we want this to slide like this, and then we can change the direction from here. Maybe we want it to slide up and it will come up like this. And this is just an example, right? This can pretty much apply to anything. Maybe we want that to apply to this particular text here. We can go here and go to animation, and then we can add a slide and then slide up. So that particular text will slide up, or maybe slide down like this. So you can do the same thing for pretty much any of these things that we have here. here. You can also do the same thing with the buttons. You can go here and scroll down and add animation. We can add maybe rotate or zoom in. So you can pretty much add anything that you want. The whole setting applies to pretty much everything that we have here. And then if we go back over here, we have the advanced tab, and we do have the advanced tab for pretty much every single thing that we have here. We have it for the section. We have the advanced tab is all the same. So let's go to the advanced tab. This is where you can add a CSS ID and classes, and this is just for people that are a little bit more advanced user, and you can add a custom CSS here as well. You can add to the main element, to the beginning, and also to the after. And then we have the conditions here, right? So we can add a condition to this section. So we can also come in here and add a condition based on, you know, all this information here. I'm not going to cover that in this video because this is like a little bit more advanced stuff. If you want me to make a tutorial about it, let me know in the comment section below. And then we have the visibility, right? So right now you can see that we have this visible on mobile, tablet, and desktop. Maybe we want to hide this section or this row or this particular button or maybe this particular text. Maybe we want to hide it on the mobile and tablet. We can go ahead and select the mobile and tablet like this. Now if we go back to the page like this and change this to the mobile view, you can see that we don't have that row and everything inside is disappeared, right? Because this is the mobile version. But if you go back here, you can see that we have this red section here, but inside here we don't have it. But look what happens if I uncheck this, which means enabling it on tablet and mobile, and save this. If I go back here and refresh the page, now you can see that we have that section again in here. So that's what you can do. And then we have position. This is where you can position this to a specific area. So let's say we want this to be fixed, or maybe we can make it fixed here in the middle, or maybe at the bottom, or maybe on the side here. So that's what you can do here. Or maybe we want this to be absolute like that, or maybe we can even change this to relative like this, which is what we had before. And then we can now use this to manipulate where we want it to be, the offset. So we do this like this, we move it where we want it to be. So you can do a lot of stuff in here. But the problem with this is that once you do this, make sure that you also make the changes on the mobile device and the tablet device as well, because any changes that you're making here is only applying on the desktop device. So sometimes it will be responsive out of the box, but sometimes you have to go and make it responsive yourself. I'm going to talk about responsive a little bit more in the video, but for now, let me just quickly show you what you can do. So once you make any changes here, let's say you change the offset like this, or maybe you change the horizontal offset like this. Now what you want to do under this horizontal, you want to click on this icon here and then select the tablet icon. And now you can see that it's cut off on the tablet. What you can do, you can just move it back like this and make sure it's showing on the tablet and it's looking good. And then do the same thing for mobile phone. It looks good on mobile. If it's like this, you can also come and adjust that and make sure it looks good on the mobile phone as well. So any changes that you make here will only apply to the mobile phone. So make sure you make all the changes and the adjustment on the mobile phone as well, so that your website will look really good on all devices. So that's what you can do. And then we have the scroll effect. So this scroll effect is basically you can do so many things in here. This is how you can add stick to the top. Let's say for example, if we add this stick to the top, if we are scrolling here, this is going to stick to the top instead of scrolling with us. You can do it with pretty much anything that you want. Let's say for example, we have this button. Let me add this button here, right on the top here. Now let me go to advanced tab and go to scroll effect. Let me make this stick to the top. Now look what happens if I'm scrolling down and the button will not scroll with me. The button will stick to the top here. And then you can also add the sticky offset. You can see that it's 0, so there's no space here between the button and the header. We can add a space here if we want. Maybe we can leave this on 40, so if we are scrolling now, it will just remain here and won't scroll. You can always come back and click on it at any time. And then we have the sticky limit. We can change the body area or maybe section or row. If you set it to row, for example, so once you scroll reach the end of the row, it's not going to apply here because we only have one row here. If we have like multiple row, for example, let me duplicate this. So if I duplicate this, now we have like a longer page. If I'm scrolling and this is going to stick here and then I'm scrolling, once I get to the end of the row, which is this first row, you can see that's the end of the row. Now the button will now start scrolling, right? You can see the button will now start scrolling. So that's what you can do. Let me go ahead and delete this because we don't really need that. And then I will grab this and bring it back here. In fact, we don't need this anymore. We can just go ahead and delete that as well. And that's what you can do with scroll effect. And that's just for this vertical position here. You can do the same thing with horizontal position. That means if we apply that, once we start scrolling, it will come like this. Like you can see how that will scroll out of the page. So the same thing applies to fading in and out and then scaling up and down. But obviously, if you guys want, I'll do like a full video on this scroll scroll effect. So there's a whole lot you can do here. This is like a little bit more advanced stuff. If you guys want, let me know in the comment section below. I will make a video on the scroll effects, and then I will make a dedicated video to this so you guys can see exactly how everything works. For now, we're going to go ahead and continue the tutorial. So that's all the settings that we have in here. So pretty much the section, the row, the columns, and the modules, they all have the same settings, so you can follow the same process and play around with any of them. So I explained margin and padding before. You can see here that if we put this arrow here, you can see that we have this padding here. We can actually add like padding in here like this if we want, but I don't recommend doing this if you are a beginner. If you are just starting to use Divi, this might be a little bit confusing for you. So make sure you actually go inside the setting tab, go to the design tab, go to spacing. So add that in from here so that you don't mess your website up. Sometimes if you do that, you're not going to be able to control how much padding you add on the desktop, the mobile phone, and the tablet. So make sure you go inside here so that you can have control, because let's say you have 100 pixels here, and then maybe on the tablet you want to have like 50 pixels. You can do that here. You can change this one back to 50. And then whatever you have here on the tablet will now automatically apply to the mobile phone. Now you can see the mobile phone is 50, but maybe on the mobile phone you want to have 25. You can change that here. Now if we go back to tablet, you can see that the tablet is 50 and then the desktop is 100. So that's why I recommend going inside the setting to do it. I know you can do it here because it seems easier to just do it from here, but you won't be able to control how much that you're going to add on each one. But if you feel like you want to add the same amount of padding, maybe you just need like 10 pixels for the desktop, tablet, and mobile, you can go ahead and use this method, but I really don't recommend it for beginners. If you're a little bit advanced user, maybe you can use it. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how to make your Divi website responsive. So I know by now you already got the hang of it, you already know how everything works, you're excited to start designing your website, but you need to also know how to make that website responsive. If you grade this on desktop and then it doesn't look good on tablet and also on mobile, then it's going to be like a really bad experience for your viewers. And then most people these days tend to browse the internet with their phone, so you want to make sure that it looks good, especially on mobile. Maybe tablet, not a lot of people, but some people still use it, but you also want to make sure it looks good on tablet as well. So this will pretty much apply to every single section, every single row, and every single modules on the website. So I'm just going to use one example to show you. So let's say for example we go inside this row, and then right now we go here to spacing. Maybe in here like this we can add 100 pixels, and then we also add 100 pixels here. So we added 100 pixels here. You can see that looks fine, right? It doesn't make any difference, right? It still looks fine, the website looks fine, but one thing to keep in mind is that this is not going to look good on the tablet version. If we go to tablet version now, you can see what we have. It doesn't look too bad either, but let's go to mobile version. Now you can see what we have on the mobile version. You can see that this is not looking good. You can see that we have unnecessary space here that we don't need, and you can see that the mobile version is not looking good. On the tablet it's still okay because tablet is a little bit big, but we don't need this much space here. Maybe we can remove that on tablet and also remove it on mobile. But one thing that you need to know is these buttons here, sometimes it's a little bit confusing for people that are getting started with Divi. Once you click on these buttons here, right, you can view this different mode. You can also change the view type from here. You can change, maybe you want to see what this will look like on Galaxy phone, or I don't know, you can check what it will look like on Galaxy X7. You can change to pretty much any size that you want here to see what that will look like. And then you can also create like a custom design if you want to add like a custom one, right? So this is a custom view. You can go ahead and change this to whatever you want. You can see it says custom view there, but for now we can go ahead and change this to tablet view like this. So keep in mind that any changes that you make while you are in this tablet or mobile view is not going to actually apply. It's going to apply on mobile, tablet. Let's say for example, if we change this one back to 90, this is 90 here, we're on the mobile. If we go to tablet, you can see that it's still 90. If we go back here to desktop, you can see that it's also still 90. So this icon here are just for you to navigate and see what your website will look like on tablet or mobile. If you want to make any changes to that particular screen size, what you need to do is go inside here. So this is the one we are working on. So you want to make sure you hover over here like this. You hover over here and then click on this icon here, this mobile icon here, click on that and then select the tablet view. Now we have the tablet view. You can make changes here. Any changes that you make in here will only apply to this particular tablet view, right? So right now let's change this one to maybe 50 like this. So that will be 50, and keep in mind that any changes that you make inside here will also apply to the mobile phone. If you want to have a different settings for mobile phone, you have to click on the mobile phone tab here and then make that changes. You can see here we have that 50 that we entered here under the tablet tab. So let's go ahead and change this one to maybe 25. And now you can see that this is looking a lot better. You can see maybe we can even change this to 15. Because this is the mobile phone, right? So you can see that this is looking a lot better. So this is what you can do. Now if we go back to tablet, you can see this is now 50. If we go back to desktop, you can see this is now 90. Maybe we can change this to 50 as well, and then this will still be the same. Now we're doing this for padding, but let's assume we're adding margin as well. You have to go here and click on the phone icon here under the margin to be able to do those settings as well. Because you activated it here, it's not going to automatically activate it here, so you have to go here and click on this every single time, which I think is a little bit annoying, but unfortunately that's how you have to do it if you want your website to be responsive. I wish you can just click on this once and then you automatically start making the changes, but for now that's how you can do it. Let's go ahead and close this. So you can go ahead and do that for every single thing on your website. So let's say for example we have this text here. Let's go here and change the size. So maybe on desktop we want the size to be 40. I don't know, maybe 35 is fine. Now what we have to do is to hover over here and select the mobile tab, and then go here and select the tablet, and then on tablet maybe we want this to be 35. I think 35 looks good. And then on mobile phone maybe we want this to be 30. Then we can go ahead and reduce this to 30 like this. Now you can see that it will be 30 on mobile phone, and then on tablet it will be 35, and then on desktop it will be 35 as well. Every time you're making any changes, you can do the same thing. Let's say the background color we have red here on desktop, and then if we go here on the tablet, maybe we want the background color to be blue. You can do that. And then maybe on the mobile phone we want the background color to be black. Now if we go back to tablet here, you can see we have blue background. We go back to desktop, you can see that we have a red background. So do the same thing for every single module, every single column, the sections. If you make any changes here, make sure you do the same thing, and then do the same thing here as well. So because you are changing it here, it's not going to automatically change it here, so you need to make sure you do it on every single one. And then the next thing we're going to talk about here is custom CSS, right? So if you go to this text right here, you can see that we have a custom CSS option. So if you want to add a custom CSS that will affect only this text here, you can come here and add that in here, so that will affect only this text. And then if you want to add a custom CSS that will affect all the headings on your page, so let's say for example on this page you want that custom CSS to target the heading 1 like this, right? We have the heading 1 here, so any heading 1 that you have on your page, that custom CSS will apply to that heading 1. So this is where you can add that. You can go to your page settings here, and then you can go to advanced tab, and then you can add a custom CSS in here. So this is where you can add a custom CSS for the page. So anything that you target on this page, it will apply to only this particular page. Anything that you have on this page, maybe you want this custom CSS to target the buttons. Any button that you add on this page, that custom CSS will apply to that button. And then if you want to add a custom CSS, let's say that custom CSS will apply to any image or any button that you have on your website, or maybe any H1 tag that you have on your website, then you will have to go back here to your back and go back to dashboard, and then go to Divi, and then go to Divi options, and then scroll down here under the general tab, scroll down here all the way here. So this is where you want to add that custom CSS. You want to add that in here. So any custom CSS that you add in here will affect anything on your website that you are targeting. Let's say you are targeting the images or maybe buttons. This will apply to all the buttons on your website. So that's how you can use the custom CSS option. So we also encourage you to use the keyboard shortcuts. It's going to make your life a whole lot easier. So if you are using Divi, you can also go ahead and use those keyboard shortcuts. So if you come here, you can see all the keyboard shortcuts that you can use to make your editing experience a whole lot easier. So I recommend coming here and checking out all these keyboard shortcuts right here. I will leave the link to this page in the description box below. You can click on it, and then you can come here and check out all these keyboard shortcuts. You can go ahead and make use of them. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how you can use the Divi pre-made layout. So let's say for example you have no idea how to get started, you have no idea what to do. You can get started using the Divi pre-made layout. What you can do is that once you're on this page, let me go ahead and delete this. We don't really need this anymore. You're going to get a blank page like this. You can click on this icon here, this plus icon here, and then you can go here on the Divi library, and then you can select the category that you're looking for. So let's say you're going for lifestyle, you can go ahead and select that. Once you select that category, it's going to show you all the design in that category. So what you can do, you can go ahead and look for the one that is similar to what you're trying to create, or the one that you like. Let's say for example that we like this one. You click on it, and then you can go ahead and click on live demo to see what the page is going to look like. Now you can see the live demo, what this page looks like. So that's the live demo for the landing page. And then maybe you want to see the home page. You can select the home page and click the live demo. That will show you what the home page is going to look like. Maybe you don't like it, that's fine. You can go ahead and click on this back arrow here to go back here and select another one. Or maybe you don't like this category at all, you can go ahead and unselect that, and then you can even view all category by just scrolling down here. Maybe we can just select this random one here. We can select this one, and then if you are creating the about us page, you can go ahead and select the about us page and then click on use this layout. But this time we are creating the landing page, we're going to select this one and then click on use this layout, and that will go ahead and import the layout for you. And keep in mind, if you don't have your license key activated, it's not going to allow you to use these templates. So that's why I said make sure that you have your license key in there. So if you haven't done that, go ahead and do it so you'll be able to use all these templates. So now you can see you have a full page designed for you. All you really have to do is come in here. You can go ahead and start making changes. You can go ahead and change the background color here to your own background color, I guess. And then another thing to keep in mind is like sometimes you see something, you don't know how it was achieved, you have no idea how they did it. All you have to do is to click on this setting icon here, and then you can see this filter icon here. Click on it, and then you can click on modify styles. You can see that this is showing you that this background has been modified, and they have this background here. You can go ahead and change this background to anything that you want. Maybe we can change this to your own background color, and then do the same thing here. We can change this to your own background color as well. And then the next thing that has been modified is all this gradient direction here. You can go ahead and mess around with it if you want and change the direction to whatever you want. And then they also have the padding. They have the 10% on the top. They have 10%. You can change that to 5. Maybe you prefer 5. And then they have the box shadow, and then they have the zoom in. They have all the settings here. So this is where you can mess around with the setting. So once you're done with the section, you can go ahead and do the same thing with any other thing on the page. And that's it. That's pretty much how you can use the pre-made templates. You can play around with it, change all the colors, and then anything that you don't want, you can go ahead and delete it. Maybe you don't want this section here, this one here, you can go ahead and delete that. And then once you delete everything that you don't want, and then modify all the things that you want, and then change it to your brand color and change the images and make it your own. And once you finish that, you can go ahead and click on save changes right here. And then once you click on save changes, you can go ahead and click on exit visual builder, and then your website will look like this. And that's pretty much how you can use Divi. And then the last thing I need to mention is how you can get support. I know being a beginner, you're getting started, you're going to get stuck, you're going to run into errors and stuff like that. And then if you want to get support, all you need to do is you can go over here and click on Divi and then go to support center. You can go ahead and check documentations and watch videos. You can also click here to view the full documentation. That will open the documentation page for you. You can check all these tutorials here and see how you can accomplish some certain tasks. And then if you are still having problem, you can go ahead and enable the remote access. So once you enable this will actually allow the Divi support team to get access to your website, and then they will help you to fix that problem. You can click here to chat with support, and then you can go ahead and follow the process and contact the support team, and then they will have access to your website because you already have this remote access enabled. So that's pretty much how you can use Divi for beginners. There's more advanced stuff that I didn't cover in this video, so if you want me to cover something, let me know in the comment section below. So I'm going to be making a lot of Divi tutorials. That's why I made this video, so that people that are getting started with Divi will understand how the whole process works, how Divi works, and how they can use it, and how they can save time and all that stuff, so that they can actually follow other tutorials that I'll be making. I won't be explaining this in those tutorials, so they can always come back to this video and watch this video so they can catch up with other tutorials as well. So if you like this video, you know what to do. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up so that more people can see it, and then don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't subscribed already. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.